Hello and good day. So I've decided that I want to start doing some of my journal entries in a video format because I don't actually tend to get a lot of writing done these days as much as I like it. And I thought if I were to do this, I could also share it, get feedback, inspire others, who knows. So I'm taking this format for now and see where it goes. And something happened this morning that just jolted me in my mind, and I wanted to kind of get it out, get it off my chest a bit. And it was on the subject of responsibility versus ignorance. And this was brought on this morning when my father was having some health issues going on, throwing up and other things. And living with them, with my parents, I see the state in which they take care of themselves, or the lack of. And seeing these things day to day from someone with a nutrition background, among other things, it's easy to see how their well-being is impaired. And that's just what they're putting in their bodies. Not even commenting on their thought patterns, which are really the much deeper root of things. All the same, I suggested to my dad, maybe you should take these as signs that you should change something, your lifestyle, your diet, stop having the same breakfast of bread and sugar and coffee every morning. And so these habits that they maintain, that it's what they know, and they remain closed to accepting other ways of doing things or just experimenting with other ways of doing things, I would say is keeping them in a state of ill health overall. And what I try to do is encourage them, open doors, if you will, so that they can perhaps try something a little different, something that will better maintain their overall well-being. And so my dad didn't even comment when I made a suggestion to him this morning. But it made me think, because it's not the first time that this observation, these thoughts come to me, that the way that they are taking care of themselves and the way that they limit or inhibit their own emotional states and their day-to-day life is incredibly unhealthy. And I'm seeing that a gradual breakdown in their health with increasing physical ailments, with being tired all the time. It's kind of sad to see, but I was taking it a bit more personally because they are my parents, and the fact that I'm living with them, I see it all the time. But as I was struggling with that, I was thinking, ultimately, I fundamentally acknowledge, accept, believe that we are all each responsible for our own welfare. And to take on the responsibility of the well-being over another is really just a self-imposed choice. And if we were to be brought into a position where we have to take care of our parents because of their ill health or whatnot, then that's a choice, and it's not something we have to do. And then there could be all these societally imposed moral things that could be thrown on top of you, saying that, well, they nurtured you and they took care of you growing up, and it's your turn to reciprocate them. And that's a belief system that our society upholds, and many societies, as I understand, have something in that mode that they operate by. But the linchpin here is that, now I'm talking about ignorance. When I'm taking some active steps and being kind and encouraging my parents to make some healthier alternative choices in their lifestyle, and they completely ignore it or choose to stick to their maintained habits without even just fringing off of that a little bit, then that's their choice. And it's a choice based on ignorance because they're choosing not to expand. They're choosing to stay within the realm that they know, that place that keeps them outside of fear. And they're afraid of fear, of going beyond what they know. But what they do know is very closed. It's very limited. And that is one of the reasons that they're doing themselves in. I was seeing this morning also, another observation, my father's choice of activities for the morning. Flipping through flyers, and just, I could sense that he was almost like, what do I do kind of thing, without actually saying anything. And this kind of activity and behavior is so, to me, appears so molded by what they've learned by society. And it struck me in that moment just how powerful society actually is as an influential factor on people's belief systems, on their day-to-day choices, on everything, really, sustained over a long period of time. If we stay in the same box for such a long period of time, the end result is a very linear way of thinking that's very stringent and too afraid to branch off and explore different things and introduce something new, and you'll either be rejected of it or be judged to it. And that's what I observe. So I guess part of this is my own reconciliation, that ultimately I am not responsible for their welfare. And this is, I guess, just something for me to release, because I have ambitions for what I want to do with my life. I do not want to be stationed here either forever. And I want to go explore. My heart desires to explore all sorts of new things all the time. It's just part of my way of being. And to the thought of being tied down because I have to oversee the welfare of my parents, for instance, as a hypothetical situation, is incredibly non-welcoming to me. So I'm glad I'm catching this now, because when the inevitability, as I see it, of the situation coming to fold pans out, then I will be able to be in a composed state of how I respond to my parents when they reach that point that they're so broken down that they need so much help to take care of themselves, and to know what the limitations of my role will be in that. Still being loving, but not completely losing out on my own life in order to ensure their welfare, because they're going to reap the consequences of their choices. And what else did I want to say? Yes, there was one other thing that happened this morning. It's on the subject of the importance of being intuitively in touch with yourself. This morning I decided to do some juicing, and it was the first time I juiced some grapes, organic grapes. And I think that must have given me quite an insulin spike, despite being amazingly tasty. Because probably about an hour and a half later or so, my body started shaking, and I was realizing that I was on a sugar crash. And so I needed to eat something. And so I had some bok choy and some leftover food. The bok choy I got from a farm that I went on a field trip yesterday with my school at the Institute of Holistic Nutrition. And the bok choy was... Okay, as a little side note, I use muscle testing a lot as a means to know what is beneficial and what is not, what is something that repels from me or something that attracts to me. And the muscle testing component is something that I've been guided to work with in alignment with divine. And this is now this is coming from someone who even used to be an atheist, but as I've been going through my energy medicine program, a strong component of it has been to develop this connection with something bigger than yourself. And there's lots of names for that. The God, source, creator. The term that we've kind of used in class is divine, a 100% pure love and light. And as I muscle test, I realized that and learned that we can be asking for a response factor to any part of us, or even of our ego minds, or subconscious, or unconscious, or the soul. But to get the truest, most beneficial response, we've been taught to go directly to divine and see what divine has to say about it. And so as I was muscle testing in regards to the food I needed to eat, I was preparing this bok choy, and when I asked about it, the testing revealed that I should not be eating it. And then when I went to my fridge looking at other things, I saw nutritional yeast, and I haven't had that in a while, but I just felt the pull for it, so I grabbed that. And then I thought, what if the combination of the nutritional yeast on the bok choy is what I needed for my body at that time? Sure enough, when I muscle tested myself, that's what came up. So that combination yielded something that my body responded well to. And sure enough, later, having finished that meal, just under an hour ago, I actually feel really, really good and very well balanced out. So again, that kind of connectedness, that openness to receiving beyond what you know in your mind, in your ego, those things serve you, but they need to be used in alignment with all other faculties that we have access to for information. So I thought that was an interesting example of how we can help maintain our welfare by developing that intuitive connection between ourselves and something beyond ourselves to really see what is in our best interest and what isn't, and then honoring that and going with that. And I'm going to cut it here because I could go off on some other tangents, but I think this is a pretty good wrap up for my first online blog. So thank you for watching. Please leave your comments below. I'm pretty open to any discussion, and thank you.